Welcome everybody, Ravenar here, and today we're going to talk about the July 20th balance patch that just got released today. And like always, I do want to remind you guys I do stream on Twitch, and I'm going to post a link to that down below in the description, as well as reminding you that I will post skips in this video to every character that you want to hear about, so feel free to utilize those. But let's just hop right in with our rework of Lieutenant Morales. Now, this is actually pretty substantial in my opinion. I believe she is very much going to be a lot stronger than she used to be. So let's start out here with her just base health nerf. Not really that big of a deal once you see what else they're doing with her. Now she is going to be healing more with her Q. Her intervals between healing is going to be cut in half basically, meaning she's going to heal for more. And energy regenerated per interval is reduced as well. So overall, she's just going to be healing more. They did a slight UI improvement right here. Just makes it easier to know who you're healing. So overall, buff on her Q, which is amazing. They did do a slight nerf to her safeguard, but I do not believe that that is that big of a deal. And they did buff her stem drone, which stem drone was by far a really strong ult for her anyway. So reducing its cooldown by 20 seconds is amazing. Now let's get into her level 1 talents. Life Support gets a new functionality. Life Support is the talent that gives you 2 stacks of your safeguard. So new functionality for the first 2 seconds of your energy regeneration. Regenerate 100% more energy, which is going to be amazing, and it increases your max energy as well. Also amazing talent. And then we got Clear, which is going to be your grenade talent. Additional functionality, heroes hit by your displacement grenade restore 3 energy. So that's going to give you another source of energy as well. Her other level 1 talent was the one that restored energy on auto attacking. So all of these in one way or another are going to help with her energy, either regeneration, conservation, or different ways of getting energy. So huge buff to her level 1 talents, and I think that will be massive. Her level 4, Cellular Reactor, healing duration reduced from 4 to 3 seconds. This is the talent that was activatable that healed you. Healing reduced from 4 to 3 seconds, meaning it heals less, but that means it's going to heal quicker, I should say. Healing amount reduced from 40 to 30% maximum health. Cooldown reduced from 45 to 20 seconds. And additional functionality, passive regeneration, 2 energy each time safeguard reduces damage up to 10 per cast. It might look at first glance that this is going to be a nerf because it is 4 to 3 seconds and 40% to 30%, but they almost have the cooldown. Actually, they did. They more than have the cooldown of this. So you lost 1 second and 10%, but you get to use it twice as often, and it heals a lot quicker now because it heals over 3 seconds instead of 4. Overall, massive buff to this talent. This was a good talent anyway, so it's even better now. Now we're going to go with Trauma Trigger. So cooldown increase from 20 to 40 seconds. Obvious nerf, increase reactor healing from 2 to 4% maximum health, so basically doubled it. You know, the cooldown increase could be bad, but overall 2 to 4%, definitely not too shabby there, doubling the effectiveness of that. Blast Shield, new functionality, heroes hit by displacement grenade are slowed by 50% for 1 second after being knocked back, and Morales gets a shield equal to 6% of her maximum health. So this is kind of putting a little bit on grenade build here. You get a little bit extra control off the grenade as well as giving yourself a shield, which, as we said in the beginning, she does lose a bit of health, so stuff like this is going to help her compensate for that, and grenade build will become more viable here. Now this is the one I am most excited about, the medevac change. So they did reduce the cooldown on stem drone, and they're changing medevac. They added an additional functionality, which was medics level 20. Grants reinforcements, allows Lieutenant Morales to drop a dropship at the Halls of Storm, basically a Nexus. Allies can get in it and basically travel to whatever location that they wanted, and they also reduced the cooldown of that ability as well. So this is actually huge. It was relatively strong at level 20, but rolling it into the overall level 10 is going to be huge here because of the fact that will give you so much more strategic functionality with how you want to set up your strategies on the map. So you're doing Curse Hollow, for example, and half your team is split. You just have them hearth back to the base, and you can immediately medevac them to your location. If you're in the middle of a team fight and a couple of your guys need to back, you can do that and immediately fly them back, basically almost like teleporting them back, because They come back full health, full mana, and rejoin the team fight. It's a tremendous advantage for this to be baked into the level 10. So this is a humongous buff on Medevac that was already a pretty good talent in general, being able to global your team across the map. So huge buff right here in my opinion. As well as Stem Drone already being strong, that makes both the medics level 10s very, very viable. System Shock, duration reduced from 4 to 3 seconds. This is going to be the one where the grenade deals less damage. So this is going to be part of a grenade build here. And Second Opinion moved to level 20. And this is going to be the one where you hit multiple enemies with the E to reduce the cooldown. So we'll get more on that later when it gets to level 20. And we got a new level 13, Bedside Manner. Basic attacks against hero deals 1% maximum damage as health. Percent damage. Interesting. Heroes hit by displacement grenade take 6% maximum damage from her next basic attack. So basically, they just gave Lieutenant Morales a percent-based attack. That's actually pretty huge for level 13. Having a healer that has a percent damage-based ability is going to be really, really strong. This is a huge buff to Morales, and it's all based, it seems like all of this is going to be based around her grenade talent on 13. So this is actually pretty good. You either get CDR, you get percent damage, pretty strong in my opinion. Extended care, additional functionality, channeling healing beam on a hero for at least 3 seconds will heal them for 50% of the healing beam's base value for 3 seconds once the channeling ends. Basically, this talent increases the range of your Q in general. So now you have an increased functionality that heals them for more, essentially. And that's going to be pretty huge. So not only do you get an extended channel on your Q, you get to heal them for more. Big buff here. So First Responder, what it does is while above 60 energy, Healing Beam's healing is increased by 25%. Pretty strong in general. Now we got additional functionality. Also grants Lieutenant Morales and her Healing Beam target 15% increased movement speed while active. So both Morales and Morales' target are going to move faster. Buff here. So you either do more healing, you do more speed, or the other one is going to be Shield Sequence. Safeguard gains a second charge. These cannot stack on single target. And increase the range of Safeguard. So not only does your Safeguard have an additional charge, now you have 60% more range. You no longer have to go into a dangerous range to Safeguard. That's going to be huge as well. It lets Morales be at a more safe distance, considering she is really susceptible to dive, and be able to still heal effectively. So now the 16 is very much based on either more healing, more speed, or just more protection. Huge 16 buffs here, adding additional functionality to all the talents. I love it. Hyperactivity is the Stem Drone upgrade. Cooldown reduced from 45 to 35 seconds. Amazing. Stem Drone almost every 30 seconds is going to be huge. Safe Zone, which is going to be the Medevac upgrade. Protect duration increased from 2 to 3 seconds. Additional functionality reduced the cooldown of Medevac dropship abilities by 15 seconds. It's amazing level 20 here. So like I said, both alts are good in general. Buffing them even more can't help. Reinforcements were removed. Hospice Care. Safeguard grants its target unkillable for 1 second. The target is under 50% health. When this effect ends, they're healed for 8% of their health. So now, when you take Safeguard, you can go an actual Safeguard build. And now when you Safeguard them, they're unkillable. And if they're below 50% health, they get healed. If you take a talent that gives you additional charges of Safeguard, that's additional unkillable. That makes Medic really, really strong. So we'll see what they say. While Lieutenant Morales has been performing well on all levels, we felt she could use a little spice. We thought appropriate to bake in the reinforcement talent from 20 into Medevac, give Morales more flexibility. Overall, my thought, humongous buff on Lieutenant Morales. I am very, very excited to see what she does to the meta. We have had a kind of stale in terms of what healers were viable at the higher tier healers. I think Morales might very well be able to be included in this. She has viable builds built around her Q, her W, and her E now, as well as having 2 viable alts. Overall, humongous buff on Morales, and I think she's going to see a lot more play, and I think she's going to be a lot stronger. All right, on to the rest of the patch. Blaze, slight nerf. Damage reduced on Q, 83 to 76, and stream cooldown reduced from 5 to 4. So overall, not a big deal either way. Oil cooldown reduced from 1 to 7.5 seconds, and collision course damage reduced from 325 to 275. This is the big one right here. This is the huge nerf for Blaze. I knew this talent was the one that kind of made Blaze a little bit busted. Overall, this isn't a huge change to Blaze, but it is a needed change. He was a little bit too strong in the right hands. So overall, good nerf to Blaze. We got a slight buff to Muradin. Stormbolt damage bonus per heroic basic attack increased from 0.5 to 0.75. Slight buff on Perfect Storm. Amazing. Sledgehammer increased cooldown reduction from basic attacks by 0.25 seconds. They're happy with where Muradin is. They just wanted to give him a slight buff. I love it. I felt like Muradin was in a decent spot, but I feel like this is going to help him a little bit more. Artanis. Now, this is the interesting one. And we will see exactly if this helps Artanis out because he's always been in a really weird spot. Charge range increased from 3 to 3.5. Basically, he has a longer range. His prism, basically his swap, cast time increased. And new functionality, Artanis no longer has to channel while the prism missile is active. Gains unstoppable for 1.5 seconds after swapping an enemy. The biggest issue that Artanises have is they swap themselves into the enemy team, get immediately stun lock, and killed. This right here is going to stop that from happening. This might actually make him viable because one of the biggest issues Artanis players have is swapping themselves into the enemy team and just getting deleted. So this is actually going to help them a lot. And 1.5 seconds is a decent amount to make a play off of. So I love it. Purifying Beam cooldown reduced from 80 to 70 seconds. Mana cost reduced. Just slight buff on his laser, which is nice. Level 1 reactive parry, new functionality. Hitting an enemy hero Twin Blades or Blade Dash grants a charge of block for 50% armor, stack up 2 times. Reactive parry was a bit of an odd talent anyway, so giving it armor will help him in that soloing role a little bit better. Reactive parry was always decent, but you kind of always wanted to go amateur opponent because it was so much better than the other 2 talents. The stacking quest is still very much kind of a bait talent. It takes so long to get value. This is actually, I think, going to be a really good addition to his level 1. So I think this might be viable along with amateur opponent now, which will be nice for Artanis players. Shield battery, new functionality, shield overload charge. Recharges 125% faster while active and reduce the cooldown of 4 seconds. Nice change to that. Getting more shields, not shabby at all. Remove follow through. Don't really know what that did, so it doesn't really matter. New level 7 though. After using an ability, your next basic attack within 6 seconds deals 40% more damage, while under 25% health, the bonus is 60. That's actually pretty huge considering Artanis very much bases his survivability off his shields. Being below 25% health isn't actually going to be as dangerous as it sounds because he'll be able to not only do more damage, but be getting a lot more shields off of that as well. So overall, good change here. This might actually be, I don't play enough Artanis to really know what else is viable in 7, but looking at this specifically, I think it's really strong. Attack speed bonus reduced from 30 to 20. Slight nerf, not really a big deal in my opinion. And his level 20 W, distance bonus reduced from 100 to 75. Artanis has long struggled to get value out of swaps when facing heavy CC teams, which is true. This has a large impact on viability, especially in higher levels of play, given a brief window of unstoppability after swapping, and it should improve the overall play. Basically, buff to Artanis and a very needed buff in my opinion. Artanis has always very much suffered from being in a situation where I felt like any bruiser did what he wanted to do better. So I think this might help him maybe fill a role that he couldn't otherwise normally fill. So I'm very excited to see what this does for him. I feel like players that are naturally good with Artanis and have put in the time to work with him are going to love this change because having Unstoppable on your swap now, as well as the ability to get more shields, more damage off of low health, utilize your shields to stay alive, I think overall this is a great change to Artanis. Dehaka, I'm loving this. So basic attack increased by a little bit. Now when he burrows, he can move while he burrows, which is normally his level 16. Being able to do that is going to be huge. Being stuck in place was always a bit of a side effect. Even though you only move at 50% movement speed, still being able to move is going to be massive. Stops you from getting body blocked, lets you reposition. Huge change for Dehaka, who has kind of always been a little bit underperforming as a bruiser in my opinion. A Lurker Strain, additional functionality, deal 125% damage. Enemies hit by Burrow. Burrow does a little bit more damage now, which is amazing. That gives you kind of that Lurker mindset that he had in StarCraft. So I overall like this change. One Who Collects, which is the minion talent. Swarm deals 40% more damage to mercenaries. Now this is actually pretty huge. Being able to have his Dark Swarm do damage to a camp is actually pretty huge. I don't think it's going to make him an amazing camp taker because he's still going to suffer from that, but I think he will be better at it than he was before and be able to take them slightly better. And I very much like this change and think it will help him a lot more kind of find a niche in a team comp. Level 7, Feeding Frenzy, cooldown reduce from 2 to 1.75 seconds. Additional functionality, increase the duration of drag by 0.5 seconds. So this was the one where the more you auto attack, the more CDR you got. Now this, they nerfed it a little bit. He doesn't get as much CDR from each auto attack. That's fine, but now each drag he hits lasts half a second longer. That's actually pretty massive. That's essentially an extra half a second of a stun where you can also relocate them. Buff, in my opinion, auto attacking obviously isn't great, but you can auto attack anything. It doesn't have to only be heroes. So I think that's a reasonable change to add this. Overall, buffed Feeding Frenzy. I love it. Paralyzing Enzyme, new functionality. Drag slows enemies by 40% for 2 seconds after it ends. And they added a new Gambit talent. When drag ends, deal an additional 280 damage to the target over 2 seconds. Each death reduces this. This is interesting. So Dehaka isn't meant to do that much damage normally. At least that's what it used to be. Having a 40% slow on drag on level 7 is huge. Even without the Gambit talent, I think that this talent is going to be good. It's going to be hard to compete with this because this was always the go-to, but I think that this might do it. Now you get to add damage on top of that, which 280 is a decent amount of damage. Dehaka is very survivable as it is, so I think that you will be able to utilize this really well if you're good at staying alive with Dehaka and pump out a lot of damage. So overall, tremendous buff here, and I love it. 13, damage bonus increase from 50 to 60%. I believe this is just W quest overall buff here. Looks like they're buffing his W build a little bit. Love it. 50 to 60%, not too shabby. Tunneling Claws, which was the one that used to let him burrow, increased movement speed to 125%. That's actually huge. Well, it might not compete with the drag range, which is one of the other 16s. Being able to move at this speed while digging is going to be huge. Overall, massive change here. Pack Leader, additional functionality, gain 15% increase attack speed while in a bush and for 5 seconds after. This is also really good too. You combo this with your lone talent, that is going to be a lot of damage. So you're having a dot on them that goes over 2 seconds while auto attacking them faster. That's actually huge. So overall, very good change here on top of the actual thing that the talent does. That's actually going to be huge. Much essence left, much to collect. All right, so not really much that they want to do here. Overall, buff to Dehaka. Tremendous buff to Dehaka, who I think very much needed it. He always kind of lacked that. He was almost good. Outside of utilizing his global, he didn't really ever contribute that much to a team fight. Overall, I think this is massive for Dehaka, and I love to see it. Kharazim, minor change to him at level 20, gained 50% bonus from both level 1 talents that were not chosen. Not too bad here. It's very much a late game talent, and with any level 20, you have to get there. I think this is more flavor than anything. I love the name Fist of the Legend, but overall, just nice change to him. They just added it in, but we'll see if it does anything. I don't think Kharazim's going to be any different. Lucio, high 5 nerf, very much saw it coming. Ally healing reduced from 250 to 230. Slip, change wall ride is active. Passing near an enemy hero increases movement speed by 40, granting 10 armor or 15 armor for 1 second. Slight change, not too bad. Overall, 13, just changing some stuff around. The big one here is going to be mixing fire. They are very much targeting high 5 here. Remove functionality. Casting high 5 enemy heroes no longer heals or grants Lucio unstoppable. This is actually pretty huge. High 5ing an enemy hero is already strong with what it does. Now you no longer heal yourself or unstoppable yourself. That's going to make it a lot riskier for Lucio to just randomly high 5 targets around to keep that heal and unstoppable up. You still get it off of obviously high 5ing your allies, but this is a much needed change as high 5 Lucio was very much becoming a little too rampant. So overall, good change to Lucio. and much needed in my opinion. Stukov, slight change, additional functionality to fetid touch at level 1. Ranged attack and melee attacks are now toggleable with inactive. So basically, you can decide whether you want a ranged or melee. I am wondering if you still get to do the full amount of damage when you are melee attacking. So that will remain to be seen. If you do get to do full damage, that's going to make it a lot better. If you pick this talent and still nerf your damage, it's going to be a little bit worse because why would you ever go away from ranged? But we'll see. If it is full damage, buff. If it's not full damage, then it really doesn't matter. But decent change to Stukov. Being able to toggle it if you can is nice. Tyrande, Sentinel, I really like this change by the way. Sentinel, additional functionality. If a hero dies while revealed by Sentinel, reset its cooldown. So it's not only if it dies to Sentinel, it's if it dies while it's revealed. I don't know off the top of my head the duration. I think it's like 3 seconds. So that's a decent window to kill someone in. If you happen to snipe them with Sentinel, obviously you get to shoot off another one. But if you snipe them with Sentinel before they die, you get to do it again. It doesn't do that much damage, but it is a little nice flavor to it. And additional functionality is never bad. Her trait, additional functionality, Tyrande's basic attacks heal for 1% of her maximum health, doubled against marked targets. So she can heal for 2% of her health every auto attack. She auto attacks relatively quickly, so that's actually a pretty decent sustained for her. And she gets this anyway. She gets to do 1% every auto attack anyway, which is pretty substantial. And 2% on marked targets, not too shabby as well. And this is just baseline. True Shot Aura passive increased from 15 to 30, so basically doubled her passive. And Activate Aura increased from 25 to 30. Basically, if you activate the aura, your allies get 30, and you get 30 anyway. So basically, all you're doing is giving yourself, your allies, what you get. So overall, nice little buff. The buff is mainly to your own personal bonus damage. 5% is not that big, but overall buff here. And nice to see. Mark of Mending, new functionality, basic attacks and marked targets heal all nearby allies for 4% of the maximum health. This is actually awesome. I believe this is the target where you get to heal. So basic attacks, being able to AoE heal. So you pick Tyrande into melee heavy allies. That's actually going to be huge here, so love this change right here. Very, very happy to see that they're showing Tyrande some love since she's always been a little bit on the weaker side. Range mark, cooldown per mark basic attack from 1 to 2 seconds. And cooldown of Lunar Flare from basic attacks and marked target from 3 to 4 seconds. All right, so I think this is a buff. I was reading it. Cooldown reduction is 1 to 2 seconds, so you get more CDR from basic attacks. So that's actually pretty cool. It seems like they're very much favoring her trait with these. And level 16 stacking bonus increased by 2%. Not a big deal in my opinion. 2% is not huge. We love Tyrande's healing niche and Nexus, but want to give her a couple of spicy baseline updates as well as tuning a few of her underperforming talents. So overall buff to Tyrande. We'll see if this brings her into the meta a little bit more. The biggest one is going to be this and this. So we'll see if that helps. Otherwise, she's still going to suffer from the same. I don't think that this is going to make that big of a difference to bring her in, but we'll see. Always nice to see them show some love to Tyrande, though. Azmodan, this is interesting. They are nerfing his split push capabilities even more. Cooldown increased from 90 to 100 seconds. Explosion damage reduced even more. And Hellfire bonus reduced from 25 to 20. Doesn't really matter. The problem with Azmo right now is his team fight capabilities with Gluttony are significantly better than his split push capabilities already. Split push Azmo wasn't dead. It might be now. Time will tell. I do not like this change because I do not think it was warranted. I feel like the last nerf that they did brought him down to a reasonable level where he didn't need to be picked, and I feel like they buffed his team fight capabilities even more. And if anything needed to be nerfed, and I say this as an Azmo player myself, it should have been the team fight Azmo, not a style that's already been nerfed. But that's just my opinion. I feel like this is overdoing it, and they might have killed something that didn't need to be killed, but we'll see what happens. Cassia nerfs, I saw them coming. Blade damage bonus reduced from 20 to 15. Thunderstroke, initial bonus damage from 25 to 15. This is actually pretty huge. This is her quest. And him, additional blind damage increased from 10 to 15. So basically, they took it away from here and put it in here. Make you have to at least get level 7. Surgelite, another nerf. They've been nerfing Surgelite for years. I don't think that this is going to make a difference. 20 damage is not going to be that bad, in my opinion. Overall, as much as I like playing Cassia, I recognize that she needed a nerf. Her Thunderstroke damage does scale pretty hard, and blind damage, I guess, could be pretty rough. So making you have to at least scale a little bit and pick a talent is reasonable in my opinion. Overall, sad to see, but necessary nerf for Cassia. Falstad, they're buffing his Q build some more, which I love. Basically, Mage Shed. Damage bonus per stack increased from 0.4 to 0.5%. Additional functionality after hitting 30 heroes with hammering increases damage by 15%. So Q build Falstad, I think hopefully we'll finally be able to see some play. That is by far my favorite build to play, so if I can actually do it, I will very much be happy. Additional functionality, at 30 damage bonus, reduce lightning rod's cooldown by 2 seconds. I felt like they had over-nerfed when they nerfed W build, with it not being able to reset and it targeting faster to see if you were still in range. I believe this is very much a necessary thing to add to W build, so I'm very happy to see it. We'll see if it helps W see a little bit more play, but very much necessary because I feel like they did over-nerf W. Frequent Flyer, duration reduced from 5 to 4 seconds. Auto attack Falstad, very much running rampant right now. In the right hands, it is terrifying, so necessary 20% nerf. Secret Weapon, damage bonus reduced from 90 to 75%, and Boomerang damage increased from 75 to 100%. Basically, nerfing auto attack Falstad, buffing Mage Stat. Love to see it. So Boomerang is what you would pick if you want Q build. Secret Weapon's what you pick if you go auto attack. So bringing auto attack down a little bit more, much needed. Bringing up Q, hopefully we'll see. W is already strong outside of the nerfs they made. So if this can bring it back, all three of his builds could very well see play. Overall, Falstad, I love it. So I'm very happy to see that they're buffing Q more, so hopefully it will see some more play. Jaina, looks like they're buffing Jaina. Q, Pierce increased from 1 to 2 additional targets. So you can hit 3 targets with a single Q with this level 4. This is by far the build that you want to go most of the time anyway. The only other real viable build is auto attack build. So this is definitely a good change here. It helps with taking camps as well as just team fighting. Makes it so enemies can't block your Qs as easily. Huge change. This is actually a massive change to her level 4. Ice Lance cooldown increased from 1.2 to 1.5 seconds. That's actually huge. You get more Qs. Ice Flow charge. Cone of Cold hitting enemy hero reduces cooldown by 2 seconds, double if they're chilled. Basically, you start getting your Cone of Cold CDR, which is huge as well. I never really was a fan of E-Build, but I think that this might very well give you a play for it if you're up against a melee heavy team. So very much needed change as well. Ring of Frost cooldown reduced from 80 seconds to 70. Also huge change. Ring of Frost is a massive cooldown. It being 10 seconds less is massive as well. Northern Exposure, armor reduction increased from 20 to 25 seconds. Much needed. Very good. Cold Snap cooldown increased from 10 to 15 seconds. Also good. So basically Jaina got buffed here. The level 4 is by far the best part of her buff in my opinion, and it combos well with this. So both of these, Q build got even stronger, and obviously it looks like they could bring Cone of Cold build into it a little bit as well. And obviously auto attack Jaina is still good in the right circumstances. Very good change to Jaina in my opinion. Very happy to see it. All right, Zagara. This is something I have been excited for. I don't know if it will bring her back, but I'm very excited to see if it does. Zagara, one of my favorite characters. Basic attack range increased from 5.5 to 6.6. This is pretty huge in my opinion. This basic attack range being standard is going to be amazing. Creep Tumor no longer increases Zagara's basic attack range. So basically, they removed it from here, put it on here. That's fine. It means that you don't have to stand on creep to get that range. Much needed in my opinion. It removes that slight handicap that doesn't really need to be there. Movement speed bonus from her summons increased from 20 to 30%. So basically her summons move faster, which is nice if you have creep all over the place. This one I actually really like. Charges reduced from 4 to 2. Which is fine because now you shoot 2 banelings at a time. So it's the exact same amount, but you essentially are going to shoot them quicker. Cast time increased from 0.6 to 1.25. Basically, it sounds like you cast them slower, but you cast more at a time. It's going to make aiming a lot easier, and it's going to make them go in a lot easier line. So buff here, in my opinion, and I like the way that they did this. Roach basic attack increased from 27 to 30. Much needed change as well. 3 damage isn't a lot, but you get multiple roaches, that can add up. Jagged Barbs attack damage bonus increased from 40 to 50%. Now this might not seem like a lot, but at level 16, the only viable talent Zagara had was Corrosive Saliva, which was the percent damage for Teamfight Zagara. This very much makes Split Push Zagara that much stronger. What will it actually bring her back? That remains to be seen, but I think it will. Personally, I think that this is huge, comboed with the increased attack range already and the Baneling. So the biggest issue Zagara had was she couldn't split push and she couldn't team fight till 16. I think that this is going to help with that. So overall, good change so far. Fury of the Storm removed. That was a garbage level 20 anyway. New Broodmother, every third basic attack also launches a Baneling towards the target. This is only good if you're sieging, so again, split push Zagara. My feelings on that are mixed. It's not bad, but it depends on the state of the game you're in. This could be a dead talent. One Baneling, unless it shoots off 2 Banelings, it sounds like it only shoots off 1. If it shoots off multiple, every third basic attack is going to be pretty sweet, but you have to have something to siege. This is not going to be useful in a team fight because 1 Baneling will be easily dodged, but if you're using this to siege, that might be pretty huge. And another new one, W, which is her summons. Zagara, her summons deal 25% more damage to enemies attacked by a hunter killer in the last 3 seconds. This is going to be extra good for taking Mutalisk at 16 as well, which will mean that not only do your Mutalisk do more damage, but that's going to mean that other summons do as well. And you can even combo that with Corrosive Saliva at 16. It sounds like if they do 25% more damage than they're already doing percent damage, that means that this will work really well if you spec into Teamfight and if you spec into Split Push as well. So overall, massive change here. You can siege with this or you can Teamfight with these. Very good change as far as Zagara is concerned. Massive buff to her in my opinion. Will it bring her into the meta? I hope so. She has very much needed something. She always suffered from if her PvP is too strong, it could affect her PvE and vice versa. We'll see if this pushes her to a point where she's not too strong. Overall, I think this will help her see a little bit more play, but only time will tell. I am very happy with this, and I think it will benefit her. So, nice change in my opinion. All right, that's going to be it for, we got slight bug fixes here, nothing really to note here. Kharazim bug fix and Shield Glare now scales with damage. What do I think of this patch? Overall, I like the patch. I think it is a very good patch, and I think it's a very effective patch. I've been very happy with the last several patches that Blizzard's done. The last one specifically, I felt like made it so there were very, very few heroes that were must bans outside of Vala and Asmo. I feel like this helped, the last patch helped a lot with making your bans more map specific and comp specific as opposed to I must ban these or I lose. It seems like they are doing an even better job with this one. I give this an A, I would say, if we're grading it. I love this new balance patch. I'm very excited to get into the Nexus and try it. But overall, I want to thank you guys for listening. Again, if you haven't already, do check me out on Twitch. I will post a link to that down below in the description. And check out my other videos as well. But most importantly, have a good night, everybody.